The story opens within the deceptively tranquil setting of an upscale home, where the delicate facade of a perfect family is already showing hairline fractures. The female lead, Yun Enning, returns from an outing to find her mother-in-law in a state of simmering discontent. The older woman is voicing her grievances to her son, Yuzi, the male lead. In other families, she complains with pointed criticism. The husband is busy outside with his career, but here, Yun Enning is always out. Yuzi, ever the diplomat between the two women he loves, attempts to placate his mother with a calm assurance that Yun Enning will be home soon. As if on cue, the door opens and closes, and Yun Enning enters. An immediate palpable tension freezes the air in the room. Yuzi breaks the silence with a mild reproach, noting that she had promised to return earlier. Yun Enning, deflecting the implied criticism, asks about their young daughter Jai Jai. Yuzi informs her the child is upstairs with her devoted caretaker, Limo. With a sense of maternal urgency, Yun Enning proceeds directly to the nursery, where she finds Limo and Jai Jai. She inquires about her daughter's day, and Limo proudly reports that Jai Jai practiced the piano diligently for 2 hours. Yun Enning expresses her gratitude and Limo humbly demurs. When Jai Jai asks for her father, Yun Enning paints a picture of domestic bliss, suggesting they go find him because he's making something yummy. As Limo and Jai Jai head downstairs, Yun Enning retreats to the master bedroom. There she discovers a lovingly arranged surprise from Yuzi. A flicker of genuine happiness crosses her face, a reminder of the love that once felt unconditional. Yuzi enters the room and, in a tradition that now feels more routine than romantic, begins to recite a familiar line. Love began with a single glance. He stumbles over the next words, and Yun Enning's response is laced with a weary disappointment. Every year is the same, can't you do something new? Yuzi accepts the gentle chiding with a resigned understood, my wife. The conversation inevitably turns to the earlier tension. Are we not going to talk about your mom? Yun Enning asks. Yuzi, seeking to minimize the conflict, offers his usual excuse. You know mom's behavior. In a few days it will be fine. Today is your birthday, don't be sad. He urges her to get ready for their guests, Mr. Lin Yao and her close friend Yun Wei. As Yun Enning prepares for her own birthday celebration, the first poisonous seed of doubt is planted. An anonymous message flashes on her phone. Your husband is cheating on you. The evidence is in the inner pocket of his suit. Her heart lurches. Driven by a compulsion she cannot control, she rushes to his wardrobe, finds the designated suit, and her fingers close around a receipt. The item listed is a necklace. This single piece of paper ignites a wildfire of suspicion. Her mind immediately races to Li Mo, the young, pretty caretaker who had been wearing a beautiful necklace just that day. The coincidence feels like condemnation. Descending the stairs with a heart of stone, she witnesses a scene that seems to confirm her darkest fears. Yuzi and Li Mo are together, feeding fruit to giggling Jai Jai, sharing a moment of easy laughter. The familial image feels like a betrayal. As she moves to confront them, another anonymous message arrives. Did you find the proof? It stops her in her tracks. Instead of causing a scene, she turns and retreats upstairs, her world crumbling silently. In the sanctuary of her bedroom, she tries to call the mysterious number, but there is no answer. She sends a terse text, who are you? The reply is chillingly vague, someone who is helping you. At that moment, Yuzi enters, asking what she's doing. She claims to be replying to a message, her face pale. He notes her pallor, but she brushes it off as fatigue and urges him to go greet their arriving guests. The birthday party is a masquerade of normalcy. Yun Enning moves through the motions, but her eyes are constantly drawn to Li Mo's neck, to the necklace that feels like a brand of betrayal. Yuzi, perhaps stressed, drinks heavily and eventually passes out. As Yun Enning helps him to their room, her gaze falls upon his unattended mobile phone. Seizing the opportunity, she's about to examine it when her friend Yun Wei calls for her from downstairs, interrupting the act. After seeing the guests out, Yun Enning's obsession returns. She takes the phone outside and, to her surprise, finds it has no password, an unusual openness that feels both trusting and suspicious. As she scrolls, trying to find a digital trail, Yuzi appears behind her, having come downstairs. What are you doing? Can I look for my own mobile? He asks, his tone a mix of confusion and offense. The dam of her composure breaks. Are you cheating on me? She demands, the words raw and accusatory. Yuzi is genuinely stunned. What are you saying? He replies, his shock appearing authentic. Yun Enning stands her ground, her principles laid bare. If you like someone, you can tell me. You know I don't like people who lie. Yuzi swears fervently that he would never betray her. To prove his devotion, he retrieves her birthday gift. It's been so many years since our marriage and you're always busy, he says, revealing his own insecurities. I know I am not a capable husband, but it's okay. You are the only one in my heart. He presents the gift with a heartfelt, I love you. When she opens the box, her blood runs cold. Inside are a pair of elegant earrings. Their design is unmistakable. They are a perfect match for the necklace adorning Li Mo's neck. The proof feels incontrovertible. As Yuzi moves to put them on her, she recoils, asking to wear them later. The chasm between them has become a yawning abyss. The next day, distraught and confused, Yun Enning seeks counsel with her best friend Yun Wei. She pours out her suspicions about Yuzi, and Lee Mo Yunwei reacts with dramatic shock and advises a covert investigation. Meanwhile, Lee Mo requests leave due to her mother's illness, an absence that only deepens Yun Enning's sense of a hidden narrative. Deciding to take matters into her own hands, Yun Enning fabricates a business trip. She packs a suitcase, accepts Yuzi's concerned advice to pack for colder weather, and asks pointedly about Lee Mo's whereabouts before driving away. But she does not leave the city. Instead, she parks and waits, her car becoming a vehicle for surveillance. When Yuzi leaves the house later, she follows him. Her heart sinks as he enters a hotel, and not just any hotel, but the very one that holds cherished memories of their own romantic past. The specific room number feels like a cruel joke. Standing outside the door trembling, she calls him. "Where are you and what are you doing?" she asks, her voice strained. Yuzi lies smoothly, claiming he is at home, tired from exercise and ready for sleep before hanging up. This lie shatters her last vestige of hope. Tears stream down her face as she remembers the love they once shared within those very walls. Summoning a fury born of heartbreak, she pounds on the door. Yuzi opens it, his surprise at seeing her seemingly genuine. She storms past him, frantically searching the room for signs of Lee Mo. "Where is she?" she demands. Yuzi is baffled, insisting he came alone to combat boredom. He turns the tables, accusing her of deceit for faking her trip and following him. "You said you would never lie to me. Is there any truth in your words?" she cries. Exasperated, Yuzi declares, "You don't trust me, so you stay here. I am leaving. When you catch the mistress, let me know." As he moves to leave, a knock at the door freezes them both. A hotel worker delivers a bottle of wine and a postcard. On the card are written the same poetic lines Yuzi had attempted to recite for her birthday. "Love begins with a single glance." The coincidence is too precise, too malicious. Yuzi, flustered, insists it's the wrong order. Yun Enning interrogates the worker, who says a woman downstairs made the request. Rushing down, Yun Enning catches a fleeting glimpse of a female figure speeding away in a car, a phantom mistress she cannot identify. The encounter ends with Yun Enning fleeing the hotel in a rage, the gulf between her and Yuzi now seemingly impassable. The conflict reaches a breaking point at home. Yun Enning attempts to take Jai and leave, but her daughter, confused and scared, clings to her father and grandmother. Abandoned even by her child in this moment of crisis, Yun Enning drives away alone. Collapsing in her car, she sobs uncontrollably, a portrait of absolute desolation. As she drifts into an exhausted sleep, another anonymous text arrives, twisting the knife. "Now, isn't it enough that your husband is cheating on you?" This message, however, acts as a perverse catalyst. It sharpens her resolve. She tracks down Lee Mo's address and goes to confront her at Lee Mo's home. She is directed to a hospital. There she finds Lee Mo not in a clandestine love nest, but at her sick mother's bedside. Furthermore, Lee Mo is not alone. A young man is with her, whom she introduces as her boyfriend. Stunned, Yun Enning asks about the necklace. Lee Mo's answer is mundanely innocent. She rented it for a special occasion. This revelation dismantles a key pillar of Yun Enning's suspicion, leaving her bewildered and adrift. She reconvenes with Yun Wei, who suggests professional help and introduces her to a cybersecurity expert named Chen. In a clandestine meeting in his car, Yun Enning hires Chen to investigate Yuzi, agreeing to pretend that all is normal to avoid raising her husband's suspicions. As she leaves his car, Chen leans over to open her door, a seemingly innocuous gesture that will later be weaponized against her. Returning home with a plan, she performs an Oscar-worthy act of contrition, telling Yuzi she believes him and wants to move past their fight. But the universe seems to conspire against this fragile peace. She notices a text on Yuzi's phone from an unknown number asking about a salon appointment. When she questions him, Yuzi admits to visiting a salon once in her absence and announces he will go again the next day. Seeing her chance, Yun Enning alerts Chen. Soon, Chen sends her a damning photo. Yuzi at the salon, seated intimately with a beautiful female employee. Blinded by a fresh wave of betrayal, Yun Enning storms into the salon and in front of patrons and staff publicly slaps her husband. A humiliated and furious Yuzi defends himself, insisting it was a business meeting. The arrival of their friend Lin Yao only amplifies the public disgrace. The subsequent fight at home is catastrophic. Yuzi, fed up with the accusations, demands proof. Yun Enning cites the necklace receipt, but she cannot produce it. She tries to show him the anonymous texts, but they have mysteriously vanished from her phone. While she stands shocked at this digital gaslighting, Yuzi produces his own evidence, photographs of her sitting in a car with another man, Chen. He throws the accusation back in her face. "It is you who is cheating on me." Yun Enning's explanations about Chen being Yun Wei's friend fall on deaf ears. Yuzi leaves the room, convinced of her infidelity. Isolated and desperate, Yun Enning tries to contact Yun Wei, who claims to be out of town. When Yun Enning asks for Chen's address, a chilling realization dawns on her. The pattern of manipulation, the anonymous tips that always led to chaos. The shadowy figure behind it all couldn't be Yuzi or Lee Mo. The betrayer had to be someone with intimate knowledge of her life, her insecurities, and her marriage. Her suspicion settles on the one person who has been her constant confidant throughout this ordeal, Yun Wei. Driven by this new horrifying hypothesis, Yun Enning follows Yun Wei. Her friend leads her to a restaurant where Yuzi is indeed waiting, but this is no romantic tryst. From a hidden vantage point, Yun Enning overhears their conversation. Yuzi asks, Limo didn't get suspicious, did she? Yun Wei assures him she did not. Then Yuzi poses the million-dollar question, who told Yun Enning all this? With chilling duplicity, Yun Wei replies, I don't know. In that moment, Yun Enning understands the full, devastating truth. The architect of her marital destruction, the sender of the poisonous texts, the secret admirer of her husband, is her own best friend. The revelation is a physical blow. Overwhelmed by grief and betrayal, Yun Enning collapses in a public garden. She awakens in a hospital room, not to the face of her husband, but to the concerned gaze of Li Mo, who found her and brought her there. The caretaker's kindness stands in stark contrast to her friend's malice. Meanwhile, Yun Wei's web of deceit begins to unravel elsewhere. Her husband, Lin Yao, sees Yuzi dropping her off and grows suspicious of their clandestine meetings. In a dangerous game, Yun Wei lures Yuzi to her home one night while Lin Yao is away. As they talk, a knock echoes through the house. It is Yun Enning. Playing a desperate, calculated game of her own, Yun Enning pretends to be a broken woman, showing Yun Wei the photos with Chen and claiming Yuzi wants a divorce because he believes she was unfaithful. She begs Yun Wei to help clear her name. Yun Wei, feigning supportive friendship, agrees. Unseen by Yun Enning, Yuzi listens from a hiding place, finally beginning to glimpse the machinations at play. The psychological warfare escalates. Yun Enning, as part of her own strategic counterattack, presents Yuzi with divorce papers, stating she will take Jai Jai. Yuzi, still partly in the dark and playing a role in Yun Wei's scheme, protests but does not fully resist. In a separate damning encounter, Yun Wei is seen paying off Chen, confirming her role as the puppet master. Chen warns her to stay away from Lin Yao, a hint at the dangerous game she's playing on multiple fronts. The plot reaches its terrifying climax when Yun Wei visits Yuzi's empty home. She follows him upstairs and wanders into Yun Enning's bedroom. Jai Jai, seeing the woman who has caused her family such pain, becomes frightened and tries to run. In a struggle on the landing, Yun Wei grabs the child's arm. Jai Jai pulls away violently, loses her balance, and tumbles down the stairs. In the panic, a distinctive brooch detaches from Yun Wei's dress and falls, unnoticed, into the shadows. The aftermath is chaos and anguish. Jai Jai is rushed to the hospital, where a guilt-stricken Yun Enning keeps a tearful vigil. A mother's intuition tells her the fall was no accident, her daughter was too careful on the stairs. Returning home to search for clues, her fingers close around the cold metal of Yun Wei's lost brooch, irrefutable evidence of her presence at the scene of the accident. Confronting Yuzi, she holds up the brooch. You said you were home alone, then what is this? Her voice trembles with a fury born of maternal protectiveness. Jai Jai is your daughter too. You can treat me however you want, but don't do this to Jai Jai. She breaks down, and for the first time, Yuzi's carefully maintained facade crumbles. He holds her, whispering apologies for his failure to protect their child, though his words are still laden with the secrets he keeps. Unbeknownst to them, Yun Wei watches this intimate, painful moment from the shadows. Later, she corners Yuzi, her mask of concern now fully dropped, and demands to know when he will finalize the divorce from Yun Enning. Yuzi, his priorities violently rearranged by his daughter's injury, gives her a cold, non-committal answer. As soon as Jai Jai gets well, the game has changed. The pawns are beginning to see the board, and the queen's malicious moves are finally being exposed, setting the stage for a reckoning where a mother's love and a betrayed wife's resilience will face the ultimate test against a friend's bottomless envy. In the chilling aftermath of Jai Jai's tragic fall, the web of deceit continues to tighten, drawing each character deeper into a vortex of betrayal and self-preservation. Yun Wei, whose malevolent manipulations have spiraled far beyond her control, seeks counsel with her accomplice Chen. The air between them is thick with the unspoken dread of exposure. Chen, whose conscience may be stirring or who simply fears the consequences, poses the inevitable question that hangs over them like a sword. Sooner or later, Jai Jai will wake up and tell everything about you, he states, his voice low and pragmatic. Then what will you do? Yun Wei's response is not one of panic, but of cold, calculated darkness. Her eyes glint with a terrifying resolve as she counters, what if she never wakes up? It is a statement that crosses a moral event horizon, revealing the depths to which she is willing to sink to protect her fabricated reality and her claim on Yuzi. Meanwhile, the fragile alliance between Yuzi and Yun Wei begins to crack under the weight of suspicion and guilt. Yuzi, increasingly troubled by the inconsistencies in the story of his daughter's accident, summons Yun Wei for a confrontation. The atmosphere is charged with unspoken accusations. I need to ask you something, Yuzi begins, his gaze steady. Yun Enning found your brooch. He watches her closely, expecting a reaction. Aren't you surprised? Yun Wei, ever the master of deflection, maintains a veneer of calm. I knew, she admits, but quickly builds a defensive wall. But I am not the only one who had that brooch. It is a weak defense and Yuzi sees through it. You were hiding something from me, he presses. Yunwei's denial is too quick, too nervous. No, I'm not. Yuzi then strikes at the heart of her story with a father's intimate knowledge. Remember you said Jai ran down by herself, he recalls. Jai is afraid of heights. She would never run down alone. This simple, devastating piece of paternal insight shatters the narrative Yunwei has constructed. Cornered, Yunwei's mask slips into defensive anger. What do you mean by that? You mean I pushed Jai? She fires back, turning the accusation into an affront. Yuzi, perhaps not yet ready to fully confront that horrifying possibility or still entangled in his own complicity, backtracks. No, that's not what I meant, but the seed is planted. In her fury, Yunwei storms out, unaware that her every move is being clandestinely recorded by her own husband, Lin Yao, who has grown from suspicious to actively investigative. In a separate but connected strand, Yun Enning is executing her own counter-strategy. She has been gathering evidence piece by painful piece. When Yuzi leaves the house, presumably to meet Yunwei, Yun Enning seizes the moment to escalate the psychological war. She sends incriminating photographs of Yuzi and Yunwei together to Lin Yao. The effect is immediate and disruptive. Lin Yao, receiving the images, abruptly cancels his plans and returns home, arriving to find Yuzi and Yunwei in a hurried, panicked state. Yuzi barely has time to hide before Lin Yao enters the room, finding only Yunwei, who concocts a flimsy story about cleaning. The tension is palpable as Lin Yao, claiming he forgot something, performs a cursory search before leaving, his suspicions now a certainty. Capitalizing on this manufactured chaos, Yun Enning pays Lin Yao a visit. She presents him with the same damning photographs. Lin Yao, perhaps still clinging to denial or playing his own long game, tries to downplay them. They are friends. Eating a meal together doesn't prove anything. But Yun Enning, playing the part of the wronged wife to perfection, reveals a layer of her true fears. Yuzi is preparing to divorce me, she confesses, and I have found out that he has been planning something for a long time and is trying to transfer assets. Lin Yao, seeing an ally in mutual betrayal, advises grimly, your husband is cheating on you and you should not be careless about this. Yun Enning's reply is a vow of quiet vengeance. If I get some proof, I'll do something. Her next move is a masterstroke of financial maneuvering designed to expose Yuzi's true intentions. In a gesture that appears to be one of ultimate wifely trust and capitulation, she legally transfers her entire company into Yuzi's name. The act stuns Yuzi and his mother, who view it as an inexplicable act of submission or foolishness. They cannot fathom the strategic depth of Yun Enning's play. She's baiting a trap, making herself appear vulnerable to lure the predators into the open. The plot thickens with a biological bombshell. Yun Enning, while visiting the hospital for Jai, spots Yunwei entering the gynecology department. Her investigative instincts triggered, she waits. When Yunwei emerges, Yun Enning confronts her directly. Are you pregnant? Yunwei, caught off guard, confirms it. Yun Enning, feigning shared joy, offers to call Lin Yao with congratulations. Panic flashes in Yunwei's eyes. She stops her, claiming Lin Yao already knows but is away on business. A story full of holes. Yun Enning's suspicion that this pregnancy is the ultimate weapon in Yunwei's campaign solidifies. Armed with this new information, Yun Enning orchestrates a devastating social visit. She drags a reluctant Yuzi to Yunwei's home under the guise of celebrating the pregnancy. The gathering is an exquisite exercise in psychological torture. Yun Enning dominates the conversation, engaging Lin Yao and Yunwei in prolonged, meaningless chatter while carefully observing Yunwei's physical state. As predicted, the stress of the situation, compounded by early pregnancy symptoms, overwhelms Yunwei. She becomes nauseous and flees to the bathroom. Yun Enning follows, playing the concerned friend. In the privacy of the washroom, she corners a pale and vulnerable Yunwei. With calculated gentleness that masks a steel core, Yun Enning poses the life-altering question. This child is not Lin Yao's, is it? She leans in, her voice a whisper that carries the weight of an ultimatum. Who is its father? Yunwei, crumbling under the pressure and perhaps seeing a twisted kind of confidant in Yun Enning, breaks down. She admits Lin Yao cannot father children and begs for a few days to find a way. A plea that implicitly confirms Yun Enning's darkest suspicions about the baby's paternity. The next day, Yun Enning delivers the coup de grace to Lin Yao. She plays him the secret recording of his wife's confession. The sound of Yunwei's voice admitting the child cannot be his shatters Lin Yao's world. His anguish quickly hardens into a cold, businesslike fury. I am a businessman, he tells Yun Enning, his voice devoid of emotion. You help me, I will help you. What do you want to do? Yun Enning's reply is a principle of cosmic justice. When someone does something wrong, the consequences are wrong. An alliance of vengeance is forged. While this new pact is sealed, Yunwei and Yuzi have their own clandestine meeting. Yuzi, now fully aware of the pregnancy, questions why she kept it secret. Yunwei, weaving a tapestry of victimhood and devotion, claims she wanted to tell him but he was always busy with Yun Enning. She manipulates his guilt and his desire for a child, pressing him to expedite the divorce. "I can't hide it from Lin Yao for much longer," she pleads. In the heat of the moment, declarations of love are exchanged, words that are recorded and will later be used as evidence. As Yun Enning leaves Lin Yao's office, a final piece of the puzzle clicks into place. The driver who arrives to see her out is none other than Chen, the cybersecurity expert she had hired. The revelation is instantaneous. Chen was never Yun Wei's independent contractor. He was Lin Yao's man all along, likely planted to monitor Yun Wei's schemes. Yun Enning confronts Chen, and in a tense conversation she secretly records, she subtly pressures him, linking him to Jai Jai's accident and extracting a promise of silence regarding their past dealings. Shortly after, Chen resigns from Lin Yao's employ, his role in the drama complete, and warns Yun Wei to leave him out of her mess. Financially, the trap begins to close. Yuzi, emboldened by his perceived control over Yun Enning's assets and pressured by Yun Wei's demands, asks her for a substantial loan, feigning a family emergency. Yun Wei, seeing an opportunity to bind him further, agrees but insists on a formal IOU, a document that will later become a critical exhibit. Unbeknownst to her, this money is not for Yuzi's relative but is part of a complex scheme with Yun Enning to recoup stolen funds and gather evidence of fraud. The romantic subterfuge reaches its peak in a meticulously staged hotel rendezvous. Yuzi, believing he is playing both women, books a room under the pretense of rekindling his marriage with Yun Enning. When Yun Enning cancels last minute, a deliberate move, Yuzi quickly summons Yun Wei instead, presenting the flower-filled room as a surprise for her, even placing a card addressed to "My wife." Yun Wei is swept up in the illusion, believing she has finally won. The illusion is violently shattered by Yun Enning's unexpected arrival, a move calculated for maximum exposure. As Yuzi frantically hides Yun Wei in the bathroom, he lets Yun Enning in. She performs a brilliant pantomime of a wife seeking reconciliation, admiring the flowers, asking for a massage, all while knowing her rival is listening from a few feet away. She then deftly maneuvers Yuzi into leaving with her, ostensibly to visit Jai Jai, leaving Yun Wei to emerge from hiding into a room of dead flowers and dead dreams. The psychological blow is catastrophic. In the quiet of the hospital room later, a genuine moment of remorse seems to pass between Yun Enning and Yuzi as they sit with their unconscious daughter. Yuzi, burdened by a mountain of guilt, edges toward a confession. "Actually, that day," he begins, but is interrupted by a nurse. The moment is lost, and he retreats behind vague apologies and promises to do better. He returns to the hotel to find a furious, heartbroken Yun Wei waiting. The confrontation is explosive. She accuses him of planning the romantic room for Yun Enning all along. When Yuzi tries to placate her with promises of a future divorce, Yun Wei's love curdles into vindictive business. She gives him a brutal ultimatum: divorce Yun Enning immediately or return her loan with a crippling 10% premium. When Yuzi balks, reminding her of the vast sums she has allegedly embezzled from Yun Enning over the years, Yun Wei storms out, their alliance in tatters. The final act of Yuzi's betrayal is the most personal. Back at the family home, his mother confronts Yun Enning in a panic. The deed to the house is missing. Yun Enning, genuinely in the dark, suggests she ask Yuzi, revealing he has been unreachable for days. The terrible truth soon emerges through Lin Yao. Yuzi, in a desperate bid for liquidity and showing a shocking disregard for his own family, is secretly trying to sell his mother's house. Lin Yao, acting on Yun Enning's behalf, poses as a buyer and acquires the property, securing both evidence of Yuzi's treachery and a powerful bargaining chip. In a final pivotal phone call, Lin Yao reports his success to Yun Enning. "Yuzi is indeed selling a house and it is urgent. I have bought it." He then poses the question that hangs over the entire tangled saga. "What is your next plan?" The chessboard is set. Yun Enning holds recordings of confessions, evidence of financial fraud, proof of infidelity, and now control of a key family asset. Lin Yao burns with a husband's betrayed fury. Yun Wei is isolated, pregnant, and exposed. Yuzi is financially trapped and morally bankrupt. And in a hospital bed, a little girl holds the key to the final, tragic truth of her fall. The stage is set for a reckoning where every secret will be forced into the light and every betrayal will demand its price. This is very small. I asked for a minimum of 15,000 characters. The intricate and painful saga of deceit reaches its inexorable climax as the tangled web woven by Yun Wei, Yuzi, and their accomplices begins to violently unravel, forcing each character toward a final, devastating reckoning that will leave no secret buried and no betrayal unpunished. The emotional and financial transactions that have propped up their crumbling realities now give way to a series of confrontations that strip away all pretense. In the hushed, tense atmosphere of an upscale restaurant, a transaction occurs that signifies not a business deal but the severing of a toxic alliance. Yuzi, his resources depleted and his schemes closing in on him, slides a credit card across the linen tablecloth toward Yun Wei. His voice is low, drained of the charming affectations he once used. "This has 1.6 million, he states, the sum a paltry substitute for the dream she had sold him. I will try to give you the rest soon." Yun Wei, whose cunning has always been sharpened by a profound sense of lack, immediately recognizes the gesture for what it is: a payoff, a goodbye. "This is over, isn't it?" she asks, her tone flat, accepting the inevitable collapse of their shared fantasy. She articulates the unsustainable truth they have both avoided. "If we both continue like this, it will not be good for either of us." In a rare moment of unguarded and painful vulnerability, she pierces through her own manipulative facade to reveal the deep, festering wound that has driven all her actions. "Do you know why I broke up with you the first time?" she asks, her eyes glistening with unshed tears of old hurt. "Because you reminded me of my parents, and whenever something happened, I was the one left behind. Just like when my mom and dad got divorced, they fought for the custody of my younger brother. And nobody wanted me, just like you." This confession lays bare the orphaned, abandoned core of her being, the source of her bottomless envy and her ruthless need to claim what she believes is hers, no matter the cost. Yuzi can only muster a hollow, inadequate apology and a vague promise regarding that child, but Yun Wei, in a moment of clear-eyed finality, cuts the last tether. "It doesn't matter anymore, and yes, from now on we don't owe each other anything." She rises from the table, leaving the credit card and the ghost of their conspiracy behind, retreating to the sterile solitude of her car where she finally allows the dam to break, sobbing over the ruins of a love that was always more about possession than affection, mourning the loss of the man who was to be her salvation and the death of the elaborate fantasy she had constructed. Simultaneously, the domestic foundation of Yuzi's life crumbles into dust. He returns to the family home, a place now feeling more like a museum of his failures, to find his mother waiting for him in the dim living room. She is not just a parent waiting up for a wayward son, she is a matriarch presiding over the dissolution of her family's legacy and honor. Her posture is rigid with a disappointment that has curdled into something colder. She has performed her own investigation and uncovered his most unforgivable betrayal, the secret sale of the family home, the very bedrock of their history. After confronting him with the irrefutable evidence, a devastating call to their confused former tenants, she demands the truth with the force of a final judgment. "Did you take the house certificate?" she asks, each word measured and heavy. "Did Yun Enning ask you to take it?" Yuzi, cornered like an animal and stripped of his lies, claims sole responsibility, mumbling about undefined trouble and a pressing need for money he cannot or will not explain. His mother's anguish transcends the mere loss of property. It is the witnessing of her son's moral disintegration. "You all stole that book, and now you have also learned to lie to me," she accuses, referencing a pattern of smaller, earlier deceits that have now blossomed into this grand theft. The confrontation escalates into a wrenching generational clash. Yuzi, defensive and desperate, claims his legal rights to the house and defiantly rejects the life path she envisioned for him, shouting that her version of right has only led them here. He then storms off, abandoning her amidst the wreckage of her trust and the hollow echo of his departing footsteps. The corporate world, once Yun Enning's sanctuary and professional proving ground, now becomes the stage for the next act of public unmasking. She attends a crucial high-stakes business meeting, a venue where Yuzi is also present, mandated by the tangled financial web they now share. They exchange terse, lethally polite words about an upcoming presentation, a chilling pantomime of a partnership that has rotted from the inside out. Yun Enning, playing her part in a larger, unseen strategy, entrusts a flash drive containing a damning PowerPoint presentation to a junior worker, instructing with calm authority for it to be played. Unbeknownst to most in the room, this presentation is designed to detonate a bombshell, incriminating footage of Yuzi and Yun Wei in their clandestine intimacy. However, in a twist that adds a new layer of mystery, the flash drive is deftly swapped at the last possible moment by an unseen hand, setting the stage for a different kind of revelation. The meeting swiftly transforms into a pressure cooker of exposed secrets and raw nerve endings. Yun Wei arrives at the event on the arm of her husband, Lin Yao, a man whose suspicion has hardened into a quiet, investigative resolve. The sight of Yuzi standing confidently among the business elite sends a jolt of pure terror through Yun Wei. Her carefully compartmentalized worlds, the dutiful wife, the secret lover, the aspiring business partner, are violently colliding in this public forum. When Lin Yao, ever observant, notes her sudden pallor and asks what is wrong, she can only offer a weak, transparent deflection. The tension in the room becomes a palpable entity. It erupts into chaos when the presentation begins. The screen does not show Yun Enning's curated evidence. Instead, it plays a different, equally devastating video. The footage shows Yun Wei and Chen, the duplicitous cyber expert, in a moment of unguarded intimacy, embracing and whispering words of affection to each other. This public airing of her secret affair with a hired hand, in front of both her dignified husband and the lover for whom she had risked everything, is a humiliation of nuclear proportions. It is a violation so complete it strips her of all dignity. Lin Yao, watching the proof of his betrayal play out on the large screen for all their peers to see, finds the last vestige of his composure shattering. In a moment of pure, unvarnished fury, he steps forward and delivers a stinging slap across her face, a visceral final punctuation to their marriage before turning on his heel and walking out without a backward glance. A hysterical, cornered Yun Wei, her entire fabricated reality annihilated, lunges at Yun Enning, whom she rightly suspects orchestrated this ruin. But before her nails can find their mark, Yuzi instinctively intervenes, shoving Yun Wei aside with a force born of panic and a residual protective reflex toward his legal wife. He then hurriedly escorts a stoic Yun Enning away from the scene, leaving Yun Wei utterly alone in the center of the whispering crowd, exposed, discarded, and publicly destroyed. In the bitter aftermath, Lin Yao moves with cold, efficient finality. He informs Yun Wei of his irrevocable decision to divorce her, ensuring through his legal prowess that she will be left with nothing, no assets, no status, no claim to the life they built. Her financial and social obliteration is now guaranteed, simultaneously. Yun Enning, puzzled by the unexpected video swap, launches her own investigation. Teaming up with the similarly betrayed Lin Yao, they form a grim alliance of the wronged. They share a moment of dark camaraderie, acknowledging the profound, personal nature of their betrayals. Often it's the people closest to you who hurt you, Yun Enning observes, a truth they have both learned in the most brutal and intimate way possible. Desperate, isolated, and with her back against the wall, Yun Wei makes one last, futile attempt to reclaim her sinking ship. She ambushes Yuzi one evening after he has been covertly following Yun Enning, pleading with him that Lin Yao is divorcing her and that she now has only him. But Yuzi, his eyes finally open to the destruction she has wrought and the hollow core of her manipulations, rejects her utterly. He throws her own venomous words back at her, declaring with conviction that Yun Enning is better than you. He ends their association with a final, menacing warning never to approach or threaten his wife again. Cast utterly adrift, she seeks support in the only storm shelter left, Chen's sparse, anonymous apartment. In this bleak setting, she reveals her ultimate tying secret. He is the biological father of her now-lost child. This revelation binds them in a shared, tragic consequence of their actions, but also deepens Chen's entanglement in her spiraling downfall, a snare from which he cannot escape. In a final, misguided attempt at reconciliation or perhaps mercy, Yun Wei arranges a meeting with Yun Enning. She returns the symbolic credit card, the blood money of their ended pact, and begs for forgiveness not just for herself, but for her child, offering to do anything, submit to any demand. But Yun Enning's price is singular and non-negotiable, the unvarnished truth about Jai Jai's tragic fall. When Yun Wei, still clinging to the last shred of self-preservation, refuses to vocalize the confession, Yun Enning leaves in disgust, ending the parley. In a tragic, almost karmic echo of the past, Yun Wei, in her agitated state, falls down a flight of stairs, the physical trauma resulting in a miscarriage. Lying in a hospital bed, she is visited first by Lin Yao, who delivers the divorce papers with detached, procedural finality, and then by Chen, who can only offer powerless apologies for a tragedy he helped set in motion. It is here, having lost her husband, her lover, her unborn child, and any future she imagined, that Yun Wei utters the line that signals her transformation from a manipulator into something truly dangerous and unmoored. When someone has nothing left, there is nothing to fear. Her despair has metastasized into a reckless nihilism. The final dominoes of their collective house of cards begin to topple with accelerating speed. Yuzi's mother, while sorting through the debris of her son's life, discovers the legal documents that reveal the ultimate truth. Yun Enning is now the legal owner of the house Yuzi secretly sold. The confrontation that follows in the family home is explosive and cathartic. Yun Enning publicly shames Yuzi, detailing not only his affair with Yun Wei, but the full scope of their financial treachery against her. She reveals she possesses forensic accounting evidence of their corporate crimes, embezzlement, fraud, tax evasion. Now we will meet in court, she declares, her voice a blade of ice, before walking out of the home that is no longer theirs, leaving his mother physically ill with the shock and Yuzi standing in the ruins of his own making, finally and utterly defeated. Cornered by the impending force of the law and financially annihilated, Yuzi becomes putty in the hands of Yun Wei's last monstrous scheme. She blackmails him with the very evidence of his crimes, proposing a final horrific solution to their mutual ruin: make Jai disappear, along with the evidence that could convict them. In a moment of unforgivable moral failure and sheer cowardice, Yuzi agrees. He executes the plan, kidnapping a confused and frightened Jai from her hospital room, using his paternal access as a weapon. He then lures a frantic, terrified Yun Enning to a remote meeting place where Chen lies in wait, striking her down and leaving her for dead. Believing their primary obstacle permanently removed, Yuzi and Yun Wei enter a grim, paranoid holding pattern with the kidnapped Jai. The atmosphere in their hideout is thick with guilt, fear, and mutual loathing. In a haunting, psychologically charged scene, a sleepwalking Jai, clutching a tinkling music box, wanders into Yun Wei's space. In the semi-darkness, the child's voice, flat and accusatory, speaks, "You killed my mom." The words, coming from this innocent victim, shatter Yun Wei's remaining defenses. Spooked and consumed by a flood of corrosive guilt, she breaks down beside the sleeping child, whispering a tearful, rambling confession, an admission of her role in the initial fall and her current despair. This damning soliloquy is, unbeknownst to her, being captured in full by a hidden recording device. The next morning, when Jai is discovered missing from her makeshift room, the fragile truce between the two conspirators explodes. Yuzi turns on Yun Wei with the fury of a trapped animal, finally screaming the accusation he has long suppressed, that she caused his daughter's original life-altering fall. As his hands find her throat, demanding to know where his daughter is now, a voice calm and clear calls from the top of the stairs. It is Yun Enning, alive and unharmed. The entire kidnapping, the vulnerability, the attack, the disappearance, has been an elaborately staged sting operation, a performance designed to lure the guilty into a confession and a final, self-incriminating act. The architect of this counterplot is revealed to be Jia, Chen's former girlfriend. A figure operating from the shadows, she had been secretly tracking him, driven by a twisted mix of lingering, obsessive love and a thirst for vengeance after he discarded her for Yun Wei. She was the unseen hand that swapped the flash drive at the business meeting, orchestrating Yun Wei's public exposure. She was the guardian angel who intervened after Chen's attack, saving Yun Enning's life and then proposing and executing the plan to fake her death, all to force the criminals into the open and capture incontrovertible evidence. Jia explains her complex motives: a deep, unrequited love for Chen that curdled into hatred, and a recognition of a kindred betrayed spirit in Yun Enning, whom she decided to aid. With the police closing the net outside, Yun Wei, upon learning that Chen has turned himself into authorities, makes a final, desperate, knife-wielding lunge at Yun Enning, a last, violent spasm of her defiant rage. She is easily subdued by Jia. The house of cards, built on lies, blackmail, and murderous intent, collapses completely. Yuzi and Yun Wei are left kneeling on the floor, not as triumphant plotters, but as broken figures, sobbing as the full, crushing weight of their legal and moral defeat finally descends upon them. Justice is subsequently served with unyielding, procedural finality. The courts deliver their sentences. Yuzi receives 6 years of imprisonment for the charges of attempted murder and complex financial fraud. Yun Wei is given a matching 6-year sentence for attempted murder and her role in the conspiracy. Chen, for his part as the hired muscle in the assault, is sentenced to 4 years. Even the complicit professional enabler, Yuzi's mother, whose accounting licenses facilitated the fraud, faces professional death as her licenses are permanently revoked. In the poignant, quiet aftermath, Yun Enning performs one last powerful act of grace and closure. She returns the physical deed to the old family home to her former mother-in-law. The older woman, faced with such magnanimity after her family's sins, offers a tearful, choked apology. Yun Enning's response is a masterpiece of dignified finality, compassionate yet unyielding. "Mom, this is the last time I am calling you Mom, and yes, take care of yourself." With those words, she formally severs the toxic ties that bound her to that family, offering kindness without reconciliation. The story concludes not with the fanfare of a new romance, but with the profound, quiet strength of the bond that truly endured and triumphed, that between a mother and her daughter. Under a vast, twilight sky symbolizing an end and a beginning, Yun Enning and a now-healed, resilient Jai stand together. They release a Kongming lantern, a traditional symbol of hope, prayer, and liberation, into the boundless evening air. As the lantern, carrying their silent wishes for peace and a brighter future, drifts upward, becoming a tiny, hopeful star against the darkening canvas, they stand side by side, no longer victims defined by betrayal, but survivors, warriors who have navigated the deepest darkness. Their shared, upward gaze, following the lantern's ascent, signifies a hard-won peace, a release of the past, and the courageous, hopeful step into a future they will build on their own terms. cleansed by truth and forged in the unbreakable resilience of their love for one another.